Welcome to Work Comp Talk, a podcast dedicated to all of the injured workers here in California. I'm your host, Carmen Ramirez, and today's topic is what is a qualified medical exam in California workers' comp? Joining me for this is CEO of Pacific Workers, Eric Farber, who's stepping in for Bilal Qasim out on paternity leave. How are you, Eric? Thank you for joining me.
I am great, and I'm really happy for Bilal, and I'm happy to be back. I mean, you and I were the original hosts of this whole thing, and I'm happy to step in. It's nice to be in front of the camera again.
Yeah, we missed you. I feel like we should have more sessions with Eric Farber as well and give Bilal a break. So what is a qualified medical exam? Exactly.
So the basic definition of a QME, or qualified medical exam, is an independent medical evaluation. There's also IMEs, basically has the same name, but it is an independent medical evaluation used to resolve disputes about your injury. It's conducted by a state certified doctor, not the treating physician. That's two different things, right? So it's basically there's treating physicians, those are the people you go to for your regular checkups and helping you get better. And then there's the QME, which is the qualified medical exam, which is giving the evaluation, basically the evaluation to the court of the status of your injury and whether or not you're getting better.
Got it. Why is it so important to have a QME in the workers' comp case?
Well, it's ordered because often there are these disagreements between what the insurance company thinks is going on and what's actually going on. So over the cause of the injury, the level of the disability, or future medical treatment, what is needed to get people back to their baseline. Try to get them as healthy as possible, right? And we distinguish the QME from a treating physician role or even an AME, which is an agreed medical examiner, which when the two parties agree to a certain doctor to evaluate. The QME is basically the spin of the wheel.
Mm-hmm. So how is the QME process? How does this work?
Well, how does someone get assigned a QME and what should they expect from the process?
Pretty much.
General QME is when there's sort of the spin of the wheel and there's three doctors that are assigned, and then each party gets to strike a doctor from that panel, and then it's basically whoever's left. And then the state basically throws out who is available from the remainder of that process. And then if they're actually available to go see them, then that's the person that actually ends up being assigned.
Mm-hmm.
There is a timeline for how all of this works in the selection process. And if you miss any deadlines in that selection process, you really get screwed because basically the other side gets to pick. We are really, really careful about this whole process. We have people that are dedicated just to making sure that we don't miss any deadlines because having the right QME is incredibly important. And after you've had 10,000 clients doing this, you get to know who the better people are. And then what we really talked about for our people are how to prepare for the evaluations, what medical records, because we have to get medical records together and send them over. But we really talked to them about being honest and really explaining the system, the symptoms that you have, and really being vocal about what they need to do. We tried very hard to educate our clients prior to the QMEs about what will actually happen there, and trying to be vocal to try to explain all the symptoms and how it affects their life, and really trying to get the attention of the doctors. As we all know, there's a lot of doctors out there, even the ones we know for years, who basically give you the best 15 seconds of their day, right? So we want our clients to be really specific with the doctors and trying to explain as much as they can. And how well they prepare when they go into their QME and talk to their doctor will really determine on how good that critical QME report comes out and how that can affect your claim outcome.
Yeah, that's super important, obviously, getting all those details. So you guys prep everybody for the QME process in Pacific Workers, which your attorney's not doing that. You might want to question some things. When does the QME typically come into play, and why is it such a big deal? You're mentioning this is very important. Why is it such a big deal for an injured worker?
Well, that QME report is sometimes used even more significantly in the resolution of your case than the treating physician reports. And so that QME report being so important is really why the QME itself is so important. And these things happen, they happen in almost every single case, but they usually happen when there's a disagreement between the claims adjuster or the attorney on the other side or the employee doctor. And it happens a lot because this will also approve treatments, right? So the treating doctor says, you need a knee replacement. And the other side says, nah, they don't need a knee replacement. That's ridiculous. And so they may have to go to a QME doctor to evaluate what's actually going on. So they become incredibly important to resolving the case, disputes about permanent disability ratings, whether or not the injury was even caused by work. That's something that those QME doctors can actually have a lot of control over. And then the need for additional treatment. It can heavily influence the benefits, including future medical treatment and monetary awards. And sometimes the employers will request them too, not just the workers.
Okay. So what are some of the biggest mistakes workers make with the QME in general? And, what are some of the things you would tell them to avoid?
Well, missing deadlines are the biggest thing, right? Missing deadlines in QMEs because they're difficult to get. And if somebody's trying to do their case on their own, you miss or choose the wrong QME or strike the wrong person on that panel list that you end up with, you're going to have some problems. And not preparing adequately, not explaining pain or how the injury affects daily life, being misleading or exaggerating during the exam. 4 is really not having legal representation to help you choose or challenge the QME report and accepting a flawed QME report without knowing that they can object or request a second opinion.
Yeah, those are super important. So I hope you guys are writing all of this down. Remember, we're going to put it on the description so that you guys can also kind of go back to this and take some notes. But are there any final tips, Eric, or advice for someone who's about to go through the QME process that you can share?
Here is my advice on the QME process. 1, be honest and consistent about your symptoms. 2, don't go in blind. Ask your lawyer for guidance on how to prepare. 3, take it seriously because the QME report can shape your entire case. We talked about that a lot. The QME report and its importance, it can shape your entire case. And 4, understand your rights. You can dispute the QME report or you can request another panel in some cases if it's done correctly.
Well, those are some amazing tips. Thank you again for joining us and sharing all of this information that you've just given us. I want to remind the listeners that there is a lot of information that you guys can still check out on some of the blogs on our website for Pacific Workers. Make sure you guys go on to pacificworkers.com and get that information that is needed for you to ace this QME process within your system. While you're at it, leave a review for the podcast. Share your comments or questions on the comments section below on the YouTube videos. But most importantly, I definitely think if you know someone who's going through the system or stumbled upon this video, share it with them. Just share it. You don't know how many people need this and they don't even know they need this type of information. So thanks again, Eric, for your insights. We really appreciate your time. It's been great.
Pleasure being here. Thanks.
We'll catch you guys on the next episode of Work on Talks.